Welcome back to Double Take. I'm Dylan McCaffrey, joined again by James Kwan. Football is finally back, baby, and it's safe to say that we are pumped.
Oh, the terrible towel was already out and in full effect, but we're talking more than football. We're going to go over our plans and how to fix this dumpster fire of a Sixers team. And then, we attempt to plan out a bank robbery using your favorite TV show characters and celebrities. Then lastly, we dive deep into whether or not the NBA is actually rigged by the referees.
First things first, though, we got to talk about the NFL's Hail Mary season amidst the coronavirus.
The NFL kicks off on September 10th, and the league is not only confident enough in their corona prevention plans to start the season on time, but to do so with a bevy of teams planning on playing in front of fans.
This begs the question of what the NFL is actually willing to do to keep its players safe. And with player protests and boycotts becoming more prevalent, we have to ask what the league is prepared to do to support its players and to support the social justice message.
Despite these uncertainties, there's a lot to be excited about in this upcoming season. I mean, Tom Brady's new look Bucks, the impending Chiefs dynasty, these are all just new storylines beginning to unfold, and that will continue to develop if they are given the chance to. So Dylan, what does NFL have to get right?
First of all, before I get into anything, I came in here today full of life, happy. I got my Kingslayer, Brady Killer, Tannehill jersey on, feeling good about my Dolphins, and I have to walk into you wearing a Minka Fitzpatrick jersey.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have to say, I would love to say that, TJ Watt jerseys are out of stock or something like that, but I more just want to do it for you.
Our replacement for him is better than he'll ever be anyway.
Oh, yeah, sure.
But before I get into the actual on-the-field stuff, I want to talk about how the NFL is going to handle coronavirus. Their plan seems to mirror the MLB a lot, where there's just tiers of people who have access. I know. Where, like, the lunch ladies and the media workers are not going to have access to locker rooms and to the field, but all the players are. And football, unlike baseball, is not a socially distant sport. And it's unclear what kind of rules they're going to have in their home markets and when they go on the road. And we saw how badly it's developed coronavirus in the MLB in their short season. The NFL, led by Roger Goodell, with this mediocre plan going forward, I'm concerned about how they're going to make the season last.
No, it actually sends shivers down my spine knowing that some of our favorite players are walking in to an unsafe environment. I mean, and that's the thing, valuing your players. We see what the MLB is doing, where they're basically saying, 1-2 people get it, it's not a big deal, we can still play ball and that's fine. Let's just trudge through it. I think the NFL is going to take a similar approach, which I'm really scared about, especially in the group setting. You got 11 guys in a huddle. How are you going to make that work? And in terms of this league being the same one that, is kind of mishandling things one by another. You got Roger Goodell. You want to compare it to Rob Manfred and the job he's done. He is a replica of Roger Goodell in a lot of ways. This is a commissioner that is just 4 years out of completely blackballing Colin Kaepernick out of the league for just speaking up on something that he believed in. So to go about that, to go on the social justice side of things, I'm even more scared about that. I'm scared of what Roger Goodell is going to be putting in place for these players to say, I want to speak out, do my thing, without fearing dire consequences, literally career-ending consequences.
Roger Goodell is literally the worst person to have at the helm of this thing. The players hate him, and all of the players' safety and all of the social justice messages that they hold dear to their heart rest in the hands of Roger Goodell. It's just a recipe for disaster. But so that being said, I want to talk about football because I miss football so much, and I'm excited for my Dolphins this year, who I think finally have a shot at winning the AFC East for the first time. Didn't win it last decade, maybe this decade we can win the AFC East. First, I want to talk about the Bills. People are praising Josh Allen. He is a poor man's Colin Kaepernick. Doesn't have what it takes. The Bills' best defender, Shaq Lawson, he's in Miami now. So is the Patriots' best linebacker, Kyle Van Noy. So is Byron Jones. Defense is looking stacked. Coach Flores is looking like a great coach. Finished 5-4 last year. Hyped for Miami and Tua.
Listen, I know the Bills don't have fans, so you're not going to be offending anyone, but it's almost blasphemous. I think Josh Allen is a great upcoming quarterback. He might not be the best one in your division. That might not even be on your team either. I'm just saying, Cam Newton in New England.
That actually is concerning. I'm definitely way more concerned about the Patriots than the Bills. Cam Newton is 1 year removed from being from not being an MVP quarterback, but from being a very good quarterback. He had 3,400 yards, 24 touchdowns, 500 rush yards in 14 games in 2018. He took the blame for the Patriots or the Panthers dynasty crumbling, but it wasn't his fault. He wasn't playing that bad.
He was getting hurt.
He was hurt in 2019 at the end of 2018, but he is an MVP quarterback who now, of course, is playing for the New England Patriots, and I'm very worried about what Bill Belichick can do with him leading the team.
Oh, I mean, I think if as a Steelers fan, I'm not going to doubt Bill Belichick anymore for the rest of my life. So I'm sure he's going to find a way to make it work, even with half of the team opting out for the season. Smart guys for that as well. Now, I have to make my prediction. I have to put in the books. Steelers 11-5.
11-5.
Book it right now.
Who's playing quarterback?
And you could play this back to me if you're not doing well. But I believe in this team. You know who's playing quarterback? A Hall of Famer. Big Ben Roethlisberger, and he's back and he's passionate. Okay? He is a guy who loves the game again, is what people are saying. I'm getting excited of what could happen. We were 8-5 at one point last season with this terrible, Mason Rudolph getting smacked over the head every other week offense. We're 8-5. I mean, so you can make the argument that we could have finished a 9-7 team, a 10-6 team maybe. We dropped the last 3 games of the season, finished 8-8. But even with that 8-8 record, I'm looking at this next season. You get a Hall of Fame quarterback in there, you can't win 3 more games. 3 more games?
I'll give you that if Big Ben is a Hall of Fame quarterback next year, then you'll probably do well in that division. But I'm worried about Big Ben, and I'm also worried about the guy that's under center for Cincinnati.
I mean, dude, let's talk about Joe Burrow, because that's obviously who you're talking about. I love this kid. I love what I saw from him in college. I think we need to pump the brakes on this guy. I'm not gonna say all out bust right now. He hasn't even played a snap, but let's see what points we have about Joe Burrow. He's a chip on his shoulder kind of guy who bounced around, proved himself, and worked towards the top of college football. Sounds like Baker Mayfield, right? Can we?
Those 3 descriptions sound like Baker Mayfield.
Listen, and I think he's more talented. I think he's smarter. I think he's a better locker room guy, 100%. He's not some dumbass who's gonna go, chugging beers at a baseball game. I think that's how you win over your teammates. I think that he's a great player, but I think when we look at these guys who don't have the pedigree, like a Trevor Lawrence or the Manning brothers or all these guys who you're like, oh, that's a sure thing, that's a lock. They've been the best quarterback around them for their entire lives. That's a level of confidence. That is a quarterback pedigree that you cannot debate with. Those are sure locks. Whereas you see this guy, he's a chip on his shoulder, and again, I hope the best for Joe Burrow, but I'm just gonna say right now, I'm not really worried about the Bengals this year.
Are you taking Joe Burrow or Tua this year?
Tua.
Let's go. All right, I'll take that. That's fine with me.
Tua 100%. I mean, him on a healthy hip is exactly what I talk about. A guy with a pedigree who's been the best quarterback around him his entire career, really.
I think that no matter what happens in the league this year, I mean, we're going to see the Bucks go on this run. The Brady is going to be a fun time to watch with Gronk. The Cardinals, I know you like to get a little better.
I mean, I think that Kyler Murray is in this situation where he's finally has the receiver, he has the offense, he has the defense. Cliff Kingsbury, this is your chance. You have everything that you wanted, and I think last year we couldn't have judged him on that, but this year I think this is his shot to prove that he can bring this college to NFL vision to life. And if he can do that, I think this is going to be a dangerous team.
I think the Cardinals will be better. I think that there's more parity just overall in the league. There's going to be more better teams this year.
100%.
Young guys like Kyler and Joe and Tua are taking over. But I think that it's all for naught because the Chiefs have 21 of 22 returning starters. So whatever happens on either conference, I think the Chiefs are running away.
The hardest thing to do is repeat. The hardest thing to do is
to beat Patrick Mahomes. All I know is that I hope that the Eagles do well this year because poor Philly fans, don't feel that bad for them, but feel kind of bad because they had to just watch that awful Sixers sweep. That team, even as a Celtics fan, it's hard to watch them go from a finals contender to now rebuilding again. And everyone's tried to take a crack at how to rebuild this team, and now James and I are going to do it. Let's talk about how to fix the Philadelphia 76ers.
The 2019 Philadelphia 76ers were the only team ever to lose on a Game 7 buzzer beater. As heartbreaking as that was, Philly fans probably still wish they were back in that moment with the hopes of being a true titles contender.
Now, however, the Sixers find themselves as an expensive, slightly above average team with problematic players locked into long-term contracts and no room for improvement in sight. James, how do we fix this team?
Well, I think first of all, you got to make some tough decisions. I think you have to trade Ben Simmons. This guy, don't get me wrong, he's a great player. He's athletic, great in the transition, the skill set is there, he's a triple-double any given night, like he's that kind of guy. But his lack of ability to adapt to the new game, the fact that he doesn't have a shot by now, he's not as young as we even think he is anymore. I mean, he's still a young guy, there's a lot of room for improvement. I think that's why he's so tradable, even despite his injury history and whatnot. But I think you look at Embiid as has more of the ability to be that franchise player, to build around.
Definitely.
And I think with a guy like Simmons, you can get a lot of these young wing shooters that we see in this league that we see is the key to success in today's NBA. And a guy like Embiid, what does that mean? A lot of kick-out threes. You're getting a lot of kick-out threes in an actual offense, which Brett Brown was never able to implement. I think, that as a start, trying to get some young wings for Simmons, that's going to do a lot.
Yeah, Brett Brown got fired immediately after they lost, and the team made a statement that they're going to hold on and build around Embiid and Simmons. But I agree with your point that I don't know if they can exist on the court together, because I think the reason they want to keep both of them is that they both individually have the potential to be top 10 players. So if you have two top 10 players on your team, you have a shot at winning something. But we've been watching them play together, and it just doesn't work with Simmons on the floor. When you have this once-in-a-generation center at the top of the key and your all-star point guard running the baseline, we watched the perfect version of their team was last year when they had Reddit and Butler in the starting lineup, and they replaced those guys with Richardson and Horford. It fell apart this year. And so I agree with you that they need to trade Simmons. I have two scenarios for how this team can get fixed. One includes trading Simmons, and one doesn't. The one that includes trading Simmons, I think that you attach him to Al Horford, because I think Al Horford's a cancer to this team. It does not work with him and Embiid on the floor at the same time.
You're just bitter because you left the Celtics for the Sixers.
I mean, that was a terrible move and a terrible contract, so all on the Sixers for that. But I thought maybe that they'd be scary with them both on the floor. But when they're both on the floor, especially with also Tobias Harris and Simmons, it doesn't work at all.
It's awkward for sure.
I think you got to get rid of him, and I think that the way you do that is attach him to Ben Simmons, trade him to a team like the Cavs. The Cavs already want Simmons. They've made that very clear. If the Cavs can offer you Kevin Love or Colin Sexton and a draft pick, if you can unload Horford and give them Simmons, I think it benefits the Cavs to have a young star player and a veteran. I think it benefits the Sixers to get rid of all those contracts and then go out and, like you said, add some wings, I think that Joe Harris is a free agent, Davis Bertans, Bogdan Bogdanovic, add some scoring to that offense.
I mean, it really depends on how much the Cavs want Simmons, right? Because I think that they really like Sexton. They like Darius Garland. They got some great young guard prospects, and I think they don't mind giving Kevin Love away, though. I do think it's a win-win in that sense. Getting rid of the Kevin Love contract is big for them. I worry a little bit with replacing the Horford contract with the Kevin Love contract. I hope that Kevin Love works there, but dude, if I'm the Sixers and the Cavs offer me that, I'm accepting before they say the end of Darius Garland's name, because that's what you need. Is you need to replace a great once-in-a-generation talent at point guard, Ben Simmons, with another great young talent at point guard, which the Cavs seem to have. They can pick between Sexton or Garland, and maybe they can even keep that pick and draft another point guard if they want. If Simmons doesn't work out for them, they got options.
Yeah.
If they want Simmons, this could happen, and this could be great for both sides. It would be a great move for the Sixers too.
My other option that doesn't include trading Simmons, I think you have to get rid of Horford no matter what. So I say you attach Matisse Thybulle and a pick to Horford and just try to unload him on a team that can take that contract. I'm going to throw the Knicks out there because they're young guys, RJ Barrett, Kevin Knox, and Mitchell Robinson. They're all locked on their rookie deals through the end of Horford's deal. And Horford can provide a veteran presence to the Knicks. They get Matisse Thybulle and an asset. And the Sixers get the freedom to build a championship contender that doesn't include Ben Simmons.
Yeah, no, 100%. And I think that... Matisse Thybulle he could be a Knick. He gives you Charles Oakley vibes. He's a tough defensive guy, and I like that for them. But as we're comparing one player to another, I think we can compare Embiid to Jimmy Butler a little bit. And I just want to speak upon Embiid because I think it's getting a lot of shit from people right now, and rightly so. But I think it's similar to the Jimmy Butler situation when you're like, why isn't he getting along with his teammates in Minnesota? Why is he calling out teammates and whatever? And then we realize Minnesota's full of losers. Like Jimmy Butler's a winner. He was never going to get along with these people that don't seem to work hard for this goal that, he doesn't see eye to eye with them. I think Embiid, if you're stuck on a team with Brett Brown for 7 years, I don't know how much effort you give in this. Let's be honest, they never had a shot. The Sixers might have been able to take a couple games off us without Simmons, but they never had a shot. He knows that. I don't know how much I could blame Embiid for his behavior.
They're in a spot where they have to say, we get a new coach like, Ty Lue.
Great pick.
Does that fix their team that now they can contend with this roster, or is this roster not going to work?
It's a great question.
I think it's both, a bit of both. You change the roster a little bit and you add in a veteran coach.
Well, you could always wait till the trade deadline
Yeah.
and have Ty Lue see what he can do until then. He's a guy, if you can manage LeBron James, you can manage Embiid, you can manage any guy in the league. I think use Tobias Harris in a different way. All these things, I think, could just increase the win total. And that's all you're trying to do is inch your way back to that title contending area. I don't think you need to blow it all up and trust the process again. I don't think Philly fans will even tolerate that, to be honest.
No, I completely agree. The pieces are out there. You got to build the perfect crew, whether it's a team or it's an album or you're trying to, rob a bank. You need the right team. And needless to say, we have a very interesting edition for you of Out of a Hat.
The plan here is simple. We're going to try to create the ideal squad for a heist using categories out of this hat. Now, at the end, we'll debate on which team we think is more capable of pulling off the perfect crime. Now,
everybody knows to pull off a bank robbery. Everyone knows this. Everyone knows that you need the getaway driver, you need the mastermind, you need the muscle, and you need the looks. So those 4 categories we're going to try to build from these hats. Let's see what I can get here from my getaway driver, which we'll start off with. Anyone from Iron Man who doesn't wear an armored suit. Is this an Iron Man 1 or...
This is the Iron Man in the franchise. Like this is any Iron Man character, but they have never worn the suit.
Okay, so my 2 options here are Happy Hogan or Black Widow, because Black Widow never wears the suit. I didn't see her driving in the movies that much, so I'm gonna go with Happy Hogan. Happy Hogan, Jon Favreau directed Iron Man. Shout out Happy Hogan. He was his driver. He was driving when Whiplash attacked Iron Man on the racetrack. Happy Hogan drove straight into Whiplash and ran him over. That's who I want driving my car.
Damn, I completely forgot about
my heist team.
Yeah, that is definitely a striking track record to have as a driver.
There we go.
I forgot about that.
Hot start, baby.
That's a hot start. Happy Hogan. All right, for my driver, any athlete all time in their prime. In their prime. I feel like some of these people might have been better drivers, not in their prime. They're probably focusing on their game. I'm trying to think. I'm going to say that James Harden's in his prime now, and I saw a pretty cool video of him driving in like a Lamborghini convoy with like Young Thug and Lil Baby. And he seemed pretty comfortable. Forming under that pressure. You have like 8 Lambos, all driving very close together down this highway. Very, very calm, very collected. Is a guy that I think has experience in pressure situations.
He's a level-headed guy. He's definitely he's gonna keep his composure.
I'm worried that he's not as clutch as I would like him to be, and you got to perform in this moment. But I think he figures it out as a driver, maybe not on the court, but as a driver. And I think he's this funny James Harden. He can keep the mood in a good place so everyone can just perform at the highest function.
I think it's interesting that you got athlete and do you not consider NASCAR drivers to be athletes?
That's a debate for a different show. We'll do it first things first from the NASCAR. We'll move on. Mastermind.
Okay. A female pop star of the last 10 years. For the mastermind.
The mastermind is the thing. Lot of good options here.
I guess. I can't go like Iggy Azalea or someone stupid, but all right. Pop star last 10 years. A lot of people have pulled the wool over people's eyes. These pop stars. I'm gonna go with Beyonce. because of the Lemonade album. She masterminded that whole thing, made a fake cheating scandal with Jay-Z just to make $1 billion, and it worked to perfection.
I'm just gonna say Kesha, I don't know if you know this, is a certified genius. She got perfect SAT score, got accepted to Princeton.
Kesha?
Kesha 100%.
TikTok on the clock?
That Kesha is actually a mastermind in real life, but I'm glad you picked Beyonce because,
Queen Bee. I got the Queen Bee walking into this bank.
That's true. Also,
if the security guard gets Beyonce in their sights, they're not taking it.
Yeah, no one can you even you cannot, even if you caught Beyonce in the act, you can never even
Do you know how when Beyonce robs this bank, she withdraws $2 billion from the bank?
I'm not gonna lie, you're up to a crazy hot start. You got Beyonce running in, cash in her pocket, Happy Hogan just drives off to the sunset. I need to pick up the slack. My mastermind is any character from a 30-minute live action sitcom.
You got from Jerry Seinfeld to Barney Stinson to Jim Halpert.
Mastermind.
Who's masterminding
The
this
mastermind.
thing? New Girl, Seinfeld, The Office, Parks and Rec.
I'm going full chemistry mode. To pull off a heist, you need to have good attitude people. James Harden, I think, is a good attitude guy. And I'm going with the greatest attitude guy, or I say greatest attitude woman of all time in sitcoms, Leslie Knope. I'm going Leslie Knope because she can turn around in a shitty town of Pawnee. She can turn around anywhere. She's got the mind to, keep it optimistic, to play to people's strengths. She can take Ron Swanson and Tom and get and create this magical thing. If you can do that in the town of Pawnee, then I believe you can plan a bank robbery, especially if it is happening in Pawnee.
That was a flawless pick. Leslie Knope doesn't give up. Leslie Knope picked no one's crap.
She's never lost in the end.
Like there's no she's gonna have 15 binders about every single person that works in that bank, knowing beforehand. That was a great pick. I'll give that one to you. You're coming back a little bit. Time for the muscle. The muscle here. This one popped out, so I'm gonna pick this one. The muscle is any video game character, no superheroes. That gives me a lot to work with. Any video game character. I'm gonna go for my muscle. I'm gonna go Smash Bros. And I'm gonna go.
God, about Smash Bros.
I gotta go the biggest muscle in the game, which I think actually I was gonna go DK, but he just got boxing gloves. I need someone that can shoot. Let me go King K. Rool. King K. Rool and his cannonball.
Oh my gosh, he's come strapped to the occasion.
He's gonna suck the money with his gun, and he's gonna be blasting cannonballs all over the place. People are gonna be bouncing off of him. He's got a high stock count. King K. Rool is my muscle.
I'm not gonna lie, I think I'm gonna be blown out right now. I think I'm gonna be blown out. King K. Rool is the perfect muscle guy. His chest deflects bullets. I mean, and he's huge. He's gigantic, one of the biggest characters in the game. Comes strapped to the occasion, already prepared for this, already a criminal. I mean, he's in his own wheelhouse right now. This has to be the pick for me. If I don't catch up with this pick, it's over. Any Looney Tune.
Let's go! That was in there. I knew that was in there, and I was like, after he just said that, please let it be the Looney Tune.
You know what? You think this is a bad pick, but I'm going Taz. I'm going Tasmanian Devil.
Okay.
Yeah. Because he's muscle, not in like the Mountain and Game of Thrones muscle, but he's fast, he's quick, and he's got the power. He's gonna come in there spinning. Cameras can't even catch him, can't even identify him. He's spinning, he's getting every security guard, boom, boom, boom. He's clearing the way for us. Leslie Knope's gonna come in and, talk diplomatically to get the money in the bag. I just think that he brings it all together, and he's also a guy. He's not too big. He's not going to weigh down the getaway car. You forget. You have to fit King K. Rool.
Oh, man.
What are you going to do? A bus? You gonna drive away in a bus? Like, there's no car that's fast enough to get away with that. Taz is compact. He's strong. He's quick. He's an athlete. I think this is how I come back.
I guess James Harden has his Russell Westbrook now that he's got the Tasmanian.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
I forgot about him. You pulled out a good pick there. Last chance to change to Tweety Bird before I move on.
Yeah, you think I was gonna go Daffy Duck there?
Crap. Okay, Taz, good pick. My last category here is the looks. The sweet talker is gonna get us through the tough spots in this bank, and for that I get to pick anyone from Ferris Bueller's Day Off. Ferris Bueller. Wow. I just got a squad right here. The all-time sweet talker, Ferris Bueller.
I cannot believe you missed out on Sloan. You missed out on Sloan Peterson, and I can't believe you did that.
Ferris Bueller can talk his way out of anything. He's a righteous dude.
No, he's a righteous dude. Sloan Peterson, I mean... You can go on about your pick. Matthew Broderick.
Sloan Peterson, if she didn't have to talk her way out of anything, but Ferris is the one on the phone and pulling off. Ferris is pulling off that heist to get Sloan out of the school.
Listen, I might just mean to nod because that's such a great pick, but I can't believe you used my own favorite movie against me. I thought you were gonna get this for the muscle. I thought you were gonna pick Cameron. Yeah. I thought Cameron was gonna be in this bank robbery. But
any other category, this would have been tough.
Oh my gosh! Yeah, the getaway driver.
Yeah.
Was that gonna be Ferris?
It would have been those car valet guys.
People at the garage,
yeah.
100%. All right. Well, we gotta pull out something crazier. The looks. Anyone who's ever won a Grammy, there's been some pretty good-looking people that have won a Grammy. The looks.
You could go Beyonce versus Beyonce.
The top. That's true. One Beyonce versus another. This is a tough one, but you're talking about someone who can talk their way out of any situation.
Someone, maybe a lyrical artist, someone that can pull out some kind of poem that's going to talk them out of
a lyrical genius.
The looks. It's hard to say no to Katy Perry. It's hard to say no to prime. I don't know, Elvis.
This is a tough one. This is definitely a tough one. I'm gonna have to go with. Actually, I don't know. Did I know Kendrick got snubbed? Did he ever actually win a Grammy?
Kendrick has definitely won a Grammy.
In that case, I'm going with Kendrick Lamar. Kendrick Lamar. This guy, just by talking with someone, can just have people freeze before his eyes in thought, in reflection. He is the ultimate. You trust this guy. Anything he says is the truth. That's the kind of guy I'm looking for. Because he's a good-looking guy.
He's got loyalty. He's got royalty in his DNA.
That's true. he's got those two different things. I think he's kind of got the Ferris Bueller effect, where it's like, it's such a righteous dude. How could I not believe it? How could I ever think that this guy was robbing the bank? I mean, it's literally just like, it's a perfect you bring Kendrick Lamar, to dinner to meet your parents, and everyone's like, oh, I love this guy. Kendrick Lamar is the guy. And I think that's the kind of similar effect I'm going with. I was thinking Beyonce. I was thinking even Ariana, because I think they could both do the same thing. But I'm about to go with Kendrick. I think that this is together, brings it all together. I'm not going to lie. I think I got blown out, though. Okay. I think I got blown out. I think your team's way better. I want to run
through my squad. That getaway driver is trusted by the Avengers to be a getaway driver, Happy Hogan. My mastermind is the Queen Bee, Beyonce. My muscle is King K. Rool, one of the highest stock characters in the game, comes strapped with his own weapon. And my looks is Ferris Bueller, who can talk his way through anything. That's a death lineup.
I'm not gonna lie. My squad is a little bit more hodgepodge. It's a little bit more, misfits.
I think that you have three very strong categories, being the mastermind of Amy Poehler as Leslie Knope, the muscle as Tasmanian Devil, and the looks being Kendrick Lamar talking his way through things. I think that all three of those are great.
I just think you not having faith in James Harden's driving abilities. You need to see that video. I'm just saying, you can handle a Lambo. There's a lot of things you can handle. He goes fast. I'm
sure he's great in the music video. For a second there, I thought you were going to say James Harden's driving abilities in the court were going to translate to his driving abilities on the road, which I just don't think they do. Look, this is a great squad. Tasmanian Devil, you actually just pulled yourself back from the brink of death there, because any other Looney Tune, you would have lost this. But I think even still, I
don't think I can fight this case. I'm not gonna lie. Better just cut the video short right now.
Hell yes.
First definitive L of the year.
First win for me.
First definitive L of the year.
We're 1-1 and out of a hat now.
Oh,
for all the fans at home, 1-1. First win.
I think I should have fought for myself a little bit more. I think Kendrick is that kind of guy when you're talking about a looks, a sweet talker, someone get you out of a situation, but I think I took my first L here.
I'll take that W. Thank you very much. We've got one segment left on this show. Anyone that knows me knows that I believe any conspiracy theory I hear. What we've got for you in this week's deep dive used to be a conspiracy until it was proven true. Today we ask, is the NBA rigged?
You've probably heard a lot of people say that their favorite sports league is rigged. Probably because a call was just made against their team in any given game.
The NBA is different though. In an NBA game, on average, referees are calling fouls almost once per minute. In many situations, more than any other sport, an NBA game is decided by the officiator.
In this analysis, we have to talk about the where, the when, and the why. But first, we have to address the how.
If you're an NBA fan out there watching this and you're thinking, no way the NBA could rig a game, stop lying to yourself.
In the flow of a game, there are so many momentum shifts and moments in which the refs can take the opportunity to turn the tide.
A missed foul call for one team, an undeserved and one for the other. A block versus a charge, sending one team to the free throw line over and over again. There's so many ways an NBA official can influence a game.
And if you're still sitting there thinking that this could never happen, it kind of already has.
On July 27, 2007, the FBI came knocking at the door of NBA official Tim Donaghy. Donaghy was arrested on charges of illegal gambling.
The story came to light that Tim Donaghy was working with the mob, rigging NBA games and making a huge profit.
Donaghy's story is a stain on the NBA, and according to him, he's not the only guilty party.
While still behind bars, Donaghy wrote a tell-all book to uncover all the corruption that was happening in the league, entitled Blowing the Whistle, The Culture of Fraud in the NBA.
Before its release, however, Random House Publishing chose to cancel the tell-all book after a conversation with the NBA where they heavily insinuated that if the book contained any libel, they'd better be prepared for war.
We can't speculate on what we would have heard from this book, but we may have gotten a sneak peek based off a court document filed by Donaghy's attorney in 2008.
The document claims that 2 referees working for the NBA rigged Game 6 of the 2002 Western Conference Finals between the Lakers and the Kings.
The Lakers have always been one of the most marketable teams in the league, and with prime Shaq and Kobe in 2002, you could see why it would make sense for the NBA to make sure that they got to the finals.
I think we can all agree that in theory, sending Shaq and Kobe to the finals over the Sacramento Kings would benefit the NBA. David Stern was even once quoted as saying his dream finals matchup would be Lakers versus Lakers.
The question is, do we believe it?
We already asked and answered if it's possible to rig a game, and well, it is. Looking at this series, specifically Game 6, it's easy to see why it gets so much scrutiny.
In the fourth quarter of Game 6, the Lakers got a whopping 27 free throws in the fourth quarter, more than the Kings had for the entire game.
There's a few specific plays in the final stretch that can't be ignored. A missed and one call on Chris Webber would have put the Kings up 5 with 3 minutes left, and instead it was called for an offensive foul.
Then on the other end, Vlade Divac clearly gets a steal and gets fouled. But he's called for his 6th personal foul, sending him away from the game and sending the LA Lakers to the free throw line to tie it all up.
Add in a bogus shooting foul on a clean Webber block, and an egregious no call on Kobe elbowing Mike Bibby in the face, and LA forces Game 7.
History agrees, the refs blew this game. We know from Tim Donaghy that the referees have the ability to rig games, and we know from David Stern that the league wanted the Lakers in the finals that year.
The evidence is kind of piling up, but we're going to need more than this one game to prove anything.
That brings us to the 2001 Eastern Conference Finals between the Bucks and the Sixers.
If you don't want to hear from us why this series was rigged, just listen to what Ray Allen had to say.
He said, quote, "It behooves everybody for the league to make more money, and the league knows that Philadelphia is going to make more money with LA than we would with LA. 9 times out of 10, when you have a referee, you know there's going to be no biases. But in the back of everyone's heads, it's like Philadelphia and the MVP needs to play in these finals."
Allen and his coach George Karl both emphatically claimed that this series was rigged, with their comments amounting to $85,000 in fines.
This isn't some Kyrie Irving, the world is flat conspiracy theory. There's some actual depth to this.
The series finished with Philly receiving 9 less technicals, 5 less flagrants, and shooting 46 more free throws. Glenn Robinson, Milwaukee's second best scorer, didn't even see the free throw line until Game 5.
One game, Scott Williams received a flagrant call that didn't even get him kicked out of the game, only for Bucks fans to see that exact same call get him completely disqualified for Game 7 of that series.
The Bucks seemed like they had Games 1 and 4 in the bag, before some pretty awful officiating down the stretch carried Philly to victory.
A lot of arguing ever since that call that was not made down the other end. Now you've just totally taken away any chance of victory. Absolutely. The fans are walking out.
If you ask any fan, they could probably name off a dozen games which they felt like were rigged against their favorite team.
And if you ask a Dallas Mavericks fan, they'll have a very specific answer for you.
The Mavericks quickly went up 2-0 on the Heat in the 2006 NBA Finals. With the series heading back to Miami, many expected a sweep.
Our friend Tim Donaghy may not be the most trustworthy source, but he's made a lot of comments on this series that we cannot ignore.
An excerpt from his book Personal Foul explains that the league would literally not allow a sweep in this series, citing the millions of dollars that would be lost in network revenue.
Apparently, the league had a clear agenda to even up the series in Miami.
But deeper than that, Donaghy claims that the league and plenty of officials all had mixed feelings about Mark Cuban.
In the 2003 and 2006 playoffs, the Mavericks were 1-10 in games refereed by Dan Crawford, who Donaghy claimed hated Cuban and bragged about making Dallas lose.
In Game 5 of this finals, Dwayne Wade had 25 free throws. The rest of the Heat had an additional 24. The Dallas Mavericks only accounted for 25 total.
In Game 6, Dwayne Wade had 20 free throws, giving Miami 37 in total compared to the Mavericks' 23. And who else do we see officiating this Game 6 but Dan Crawford?
If you won't take it from Tim Donaghy or us, take it from Mark Cuban and former FBI agent Mike Flagg.
That's right. Mark Cuban was so infuriated about that finals loss that he hired ex-FBI agent Mike Flagg to investigate the league and that series for evidence that it was rigged.
Reportedly, Flagg told Cuban that if he sued the league, he would absolutely win. The only thing that stopped the lawsuit is that it would devalue the league, and therefore Mark Cuban's team.
Those 3 playoff series contain some of the best evidence that league officials could be influencing the outcome of those series. But taking in all those examples, it'd still be impossible for us to say that the NBA predetermines the outcome of every game.
What's more likely is that the league pushes their agenda as subtly as possible. nudging the narrative to be the most profitable.
Take Draymond Green getting suspended in the 2016 NBA Finals. He's going around kicking guys in the nuts, so it makes sense to suspend him, and it gets the series to 7 games.
Let's say somehow Golden State goes down 3-0 in that series. Are they going to suspend Draymond for that Game 4 on a retroactive flagrant call? I'm going to bet no.
Today, we see superstars getting to the free throw line more than ever. Now, is James Harden the most talented foul drawer in the NBA? Yes.
Now, would James Harden be making headlines for his scoring performances and 30-point game streaks and all these things if he wasn't averaging 12 free throws a game? Probably not.
The point is, if the NBA wanted to push a Harden MVP agenda, they can. Easily.
And if they want a primetime game to be close going down the stretch, they can. Easily.
And if they want a playoff series to go an extra game or two for more TV ratings, they can. Easily.
This century, the amount of influence and control NBA referees can have over the game has gone up drastically. The more the NBA embraces flopping or drawing in people for foul calls, the more control they set themselves up to have.
So, is the NBA rigged?
I'm going to say for the most part, probably not. But definitely, 100%, it has happened and does happen. Maybe not for the course of an entire playoff series, but if you're still sitting there wondering, how does James Harden have 50 points and 11 for 37 shooting?
You know how, and you know why.
Thanks so much for watching another episode of Double Take. Your support is super appreciated and it fuels our big hopes for this show.
Like, subscribe, tell your friends, and comment whatever you want us to talk about next.
Thanks again. See you next time, and in the immortal words of Stephen A. Smith.
Y'all take it easy. I'm out.